Bundy's Garage, Bundy here. Today I'm here with my good buddy Dennis, and we're gonna go over some things. This is actually gonna be one long video, and I'm gonna actually splice it up into probably 6 or 7 different videos. So you can actually, if you guys want, you can click in the description below, and there'll be a link to the full-length video if you're watching just one of the mini series of this. We're actually gonna go over a couple different things. Dennis is a mechanic. How long have you been a mechanic for?
About 13 years. Thought the easiest route would be to go to trade school, so I jumped into UTI, paid the bill.
How much was that?
At the time I went to UTI, it was about 23 grand. Still paying off student loans for that.
It's 2016 right now.
Yeah, went through that. You know, it was an okay experience. Sorry
for interrupting. Going back to UTI, what you saw in the other video that I interviewed Josh at. What was your feel when you saw that video? Were we on? Were we off? Was it more of like, did you see it as we were trying to slam UTI, or what was your experience going to UTI?
I thought it was a pretty fair video. My experience with UTI was there are 2 different types of people that go to UTI. There are people that have no clue what they want to do. They think cars are cool, so they go, and you know, they don't realize the importance of being there on time 100% of the time, getting perfect grades, how that affects your ability to get a job in the future, and how that affects your opportunities at the school. For me, I was 25 when I started school. I had a different perspective on life. I had a family to provide for, so that was my full-time job.
Okay.
So
what do they look for? Because you made it all the way to the Mercedes program we were talking about.
Yeah, I did. I got it. I started school. I pushed my way through. I got, you know, 100% attendance, 4.0 GPA, and that's what the programs look for. They want guys that know, that are committed, that are going to work hard, and that are going to get the grade, you know.
What programs?
When I was there was a BMW, a Mercedes, and a Volkswagen program. They also had a Ford program that you had to pay for. It wasn't sponsored like the others. But
the other ones were free?
They are sponsored by the dealership, so you had to sign a contract with them, with the manufacturer, to be employed by a dealership that would take on part of the cost after you got a job at a dealership. So
how long was that agreement for?
It varied by manufacturer. I think the Mercedes program, when I was in it, it was a year commitment to the dealership that signed you up, but it was all dependent on the dealership. I heard people signing contracts for 2 years to work for the dealership because they take on a heavy expense. You know, they pay half of the cost.
Yeah, they're training you. They're training you for working at the dealership.
Yeah, so it's definitely a good opportunity if you want to get into a dealership and fast track all your certifications. You know, you can
get ASEs.
Yeah, no, your ASEs you're on your own for, but the actual manufacturer certifications, which in a regular dealership job, it'd take you years to get a master certification. Say for like Mercedes, you know, 5 to 7 years at a minimum to get a master certification, where if you were to go through that program, you could virtually be a master technician stepping in as a new guy.
Okay, go over job placement with UTI. If you don't make it into those programs, if you don't make it in the Mercedes-Benz, if you don't make it in BMW, don't make it in GM.
I would equate it to like a Craigslist kind of a setup. They have job placement people, and they help you contact them. After you're out of the school, it's not that great. When you're in school, they do have opportunities like job fair kind of things. People that come in that offer opportunities that are good. I have friends that got into jobs with, say, a Crown Lift, different dealerships and manufacturers that do well. But afterwards, I went after Saturn closed down in 2008, and I was laid off. I went back to UTI see about getting some kind of a placement or some kind of a job leads. And it was, like I said, just sort of like a Craigslist opportunity. You know, they have a job listings. If you see something that fits your skill set, your skill level, then good for you. If you don't, you're on your own. You know, they will help you, you know, rewrite your resume and do stuff like that. But, you know.
Now, were you in the housing they offered or no?
No, I lived on my own.
I've heard horror stories about that, the housing.
Yeah, I don't know anybody that was in the housing. I mean, when I was there, I think they were offering like to link you up with other guys that were there, and you know, it really depends on the person you get linked up with. Some guys are there just young kids wanting to party and get crazy, and some guys are serious and really want to work hard to do what they got to do.
Would you recommend it to people?
I would probably not for the price it is nowadays. I think that you can get the training and the knowledge and the ability by getting a hands-on job. Say, for instance, with Mazda, if I want to be a master Mazda technician, I just have to put in the time. I have to go through their classes and I have to pass my ASEs. I think that's probably one of the most valuable things with UTI. If you are able to get your ASEs as you go through the school, they really aim towards that kind of a prep. So if you take an AC class, you go take your ASC for AC. Why the view on UTI students is so bad. I think UTI builds you up to think you're going to be coming out getting rich as a mechanic with no experience. You know, oh, I got a year's experience because I went to a year of trade school. Well, that's not fact. You know, you have a year of knowledge built up if you can retain that knowledge, and you're not worth $20, $30 an hour flat rate. You're worth minimum wage until you earn your keep. You learn the trade and learn how to do it and show your worth.
You said the most important crucial thing to pass in UTI is diagnostic and electrical, correct?
I think so. If I was a shop owner and I was looking at a resume for a student out of UTI, if I looked at their electrical classes and I looked at their diagnostic classes and they weren't perfect scores, I would reconsider. I definitely look at that person and see what their aptitude is for electrical. If you can't do a basic voltage drop, if you don't know what that is, look it up. If you can't check
just Google it, guys.
You can't check resistance on a circuit, you can't read a schematic, then honestly, nowadays with the way that cars are, I'm not going to hire you.
Yeah.
I need somebody that I can say, hey, go pull this schematic, and you know what to do. Know your systems. Know how to use all data in Mitchell. And know if you're going into a manufacturer, learn the systems as fast as you can. Because you know, I worked with guys that have been in a dealership for 8 years and not knowing how to pull up a schematic and read a bulletin. You know, if it was my shop, I'd be getting rid of those guys, or they wouldn't be making more than minimum wage.
Keep an eye out. Soon he's going to launch a channel as well pretty soon, and as soon as he does, I'll bring him back on here. We'll do a shout out to him, and either bring him back or I'll do it myself. But Dennis is a great guy. He's been my friend for a long time. We've probably known each other, what, 12 years now, if not longer. And he's come over, help me with stuff in my garage. But is there any parting words you want to tell our viewers at Bundys Garage? Anything at all?
No, got nothing.
Thank you, Dennis. I appreciate it. Appreciate your time. Questions, comments, concerns, you can always reach out to me at bundysgarage@gmail.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Bundys Garage. You can also follow me on Facebook. I wish I had made it to SEMA, but I didn't this year. Guys, take care. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you can, and keep your eye out for more videos.